A good evening to you all. Welcome to the English News Bulletin. We trust you've had a fulfilling weekend and hope you are embracing Sunday. For this edition, let's begin with the headlines. President Paul Kagame on Sunday arrived in Seoul, South Korea, where he will join other leaders at the first Korea-Africa Summit. Rwandans from all walks of life have been denouncing false intentional media reports meant to tarnish the country's image, noting that Rwanda's achievements in the last 3 decades are proof that actions speak louder than words. My name is Olive Nete. Welcome to the English News in details. President Paul Kagame on Sunday arrived in Seoul, South Korea, where he will join other leaders at the first Korea-Africa Summit, and the head of state will deliver remarks at the summit's opening alongside other heads of state and government. Adam Squizera has the report.
President Paul Kagame is in Seoul, the capital of South Korea, where he will attend the first Korea-Africa Summit slated for Tuesday, 4th June. The summit will bring together delegations from African countries and related international organizations, key figures from Korean and international business communities, academia, civil society groups, press, among others. This summit will be co-chaired by President Yoon Suk-yeol of South Korea and Mohamed El Ghazouani of Mauritania, who is also the African Union chairman. The summit, taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday, will convene high-ranking officials from South Korea to discuss ways of fostering a better structured and strengthened partnership between the two sides. It's themed "The Future We Make Together: Shared Growth, Sustainability and Solidarity." Heads of state, senior government officials, business leaders and economic experts will discuss agendas such as industrial development, trade expansion, strengthened food and mineral security, and responses to climate change, all of which are of much interest to Korea and Africa. President Paul Kagame will also visit Yonsei University on the sidelines of the Korea-Africa Summit, where he will be presented with an honorary doctorate in public policy and management. Yonsei University is a private university founded in 1885 and is among the top 3 universities in Korea. It's a home of 178 research centers. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the report. Now, Rwandans from all walks of life have been denouncing false intentional media reports meant to tarnish their country's image, noting that Rwanda's achievements in the last 3 decades are proof that actions speak louder than words. In recent weeks, a group of more than 50 journalists from 17 media houses, most of them from Europe, have been publishing stories that without doubt seek to undermine Rwanda's impressive achievements since the end of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The reports come as the country prepares for general elections next month, the timing not going unnoticed by analysts here in Rwanda, who note that the articles that have been published are without doubt being influenced by individuals with genocidal ideologies and other bent on harming the country in any way they can. Though there is nothing new in the baseless accusations leveled in the articles, there is an element of jealousy towards Rwanda's peacekeeping efforts abroad and tourism initiatives like the Visit Rwanda program that had not been seen before. This is the reason officials in the government of Rwanda are urging the general public not to pay attention to such feeble attempts to distract Rwandans from what really matters, which is the long-term development of the country, and instead pay attention to things that have a positive impact on current and future generations. To other news, people living in Rwanda's rural areas attest to the fact that life has drastically improved for the better in the last 30 years. They say this because older generations remember all too well when almost all children in rural areas would go to school barefoot and phones were non-existent. Most houses were grass thatched and almost all rural areas were without electricity, while clean water supplies were also not something you would find in settlements unless they were located in key urban locations. All that has now changed because primary and secondary schools in rural areas have now more than doubled, and 76% of all homes in country, both rural and urban areas, have electricity, compared to just 1% in 1994. By the end of the next year, all Rwandans are expected to be able to access clean water, and Rwanda is now looking to increase personnel in the health sector 4 times over in the next 4 years by as many as 32,973 people as part of the 4x4 push, yet there was a time when the entire country had just 112 doctors. To more news, over 700 families, primarily from vulnerable groups, are being housed in various parts of Kigali. By early July, they will be provided with accommodations valued at more than 21 billion Rwandan francs. We have details. Homelessness in various parts of Kigali city poses a significant threat to vulnerable groups, including genocide survivors, disaster victims, and others. Ngendahaya Patrick, from the Gikomero sector, is among those affected by this issue.
It's not easy currently because there sometimes you fail to get the money for rent and you find yourself getting chased. For instance, I have family, but they are my fellows who were given houses, and I was told that by this time I will get a house too. So that's the case that brought me here.
In the Gatsata and Gisozi sectors, over 4,852 families have been relocated, with Kigali city spending over 200 million Rwandan francs on this effort. Some families are still in temporary rentals. In Musanza, a building worth more than 1 billion Rwandan francs is under construction to house those in need. Additionally, in the Gikomero sector, new 4-in-1 houses are being completed to accommodate over 26 families.
Having family but without a shelter, for you to only with your brother, it was something that was really bothering. We started to build these houses on 8th February, whereas we were asked to build these houses in only 6 months, but we tried to complete them within 4 months. Now the only thing remaining is to submit them to the administration, because the remaining work will not exceed 1 month.
In the Gitega sector, construction of model villages with 220 houses is underway. These villages will accommodate 688 families, including 220 previously evicted families returning to their homes, as well as families displaced by disasters and those in need. These new accommodations are expected to significantly improve their lives.
This is a good sign because this used to be a very chaotic place. But now we are experiencing the development, and this will also be marked as a nice place for residents to reside in a clean city.
Non-governmental organizations commend the relocation process for vulnerable individuals as it reduces the chaos often faced by those who are displaced without a clear destination.
This shows how Rwanda is doing good things, because there are some who gets relocated but don't get the compensation fee, but instead get houses to reside. For example, you saw that model village of Karama. Literally, is something that we appreciate as NGOs.
The mayor of Kigali City, Samuel Dusengiyumva, emphasizes that relocating vulnerable individuals to well-maintained areas is an ongoing effort. This initiative aligns with the city's vision of maintaining cleanliness and enhancing its reputation on the international stage.
What I can assure the residents of the city of Kigali is that we are now collaborating with the relevant institutions to establish a way of building affordable houses suitable for the residents of the city of Kigali.
All these model villages, valued at over 21 billion Rwandan francs, are included in the current budget ending on June 30th. These new villages complement those in Musanze and Karama, which are already home to people who previously lived in high-risk zones. Now to matters related to international relations, Rwanda and Singapore have announced their cooperation on a project to prepare a document containing regulations governing the use of artificial intelligence at the Small States Forum, which brings together small countries from around the world. This was reiterated at the ministerial meeting of the countries that are members of the Small States Forum. Adam Squizera with the report.
This ministerial meeting was held on the second day of the Asia Tech Summit, an annual event hosted by Singapore, where various leaders from the artificial intelligence sector discussed on digital technologies. The Minister of Communications and Information of Singapore, Josephine Teo, noted that the documents containing the guidelines for the use of artificial intelligence, which Rwanda and Singapore will work on together, is a sign of how through cooperation, small-scale countries can make a real contribution to the world in the management and the use of artificial intelligence, AI. On the other hand, Rwanda's Minister of ICT and Innovation, Paula Ingabire, emphasized that Rwanda is always ready to work with other countries in the development of artificial intelligence AI. She pointed out that there is no doubt that the artificial intelligence is the key to numerous activities that will generate economic benefits, both globally and in Rwanda. Minister Paula Ingabire added that Rwanda is ready to collaborate with Singapore to establish methods that maximize the benefits of artificial intelligence while minimizing issues arising from its misuse. At the Asia Tech Summit, Rwanda was represented by a delegation including the head of National Identity Agency, the head of Directorate General of Immigration and Immigration Office, the Chief Innovation Officer at RISA, and the Minister of Education who led the delegation. Rwanda and Singapore enjoy very good relations over the past years. Leaders in Singapore have unanimously praised Rwanda as an innovative country with visionary leadership and people. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, on a detailed report. Now to economic matters. The Governor of the Central Bank of Rwanda, John Rwangombwa, highlighted the key milestones and strategies fueling Rwanda's impressive economic recovery, offering insights into the nation's resilience and vision for sustainable growth over the last 3 decades. He reiterated this in an exclusive interview with our colleague Adams Kwizera. Take a look.
As we are heading up to the celebration of the 30th liberation, I want you to demonstrate what were the pillars of the development of our economy after the genocide against Tutsi in 1994. Who can we attribute from that development we are now achieving over the last 30 years?
I would say the development we see in our country over the past 30 years is linked to mainly let me say 3 pillars, but 3 pillars that are linked on one main pillar. The biggest driver of this growth is good governance. Governance that knows what they want, government that commits to achieve what they want, government that commits to accountability and proper planning. So the fact that from 2000 or 2001, we had a clear path of where we wanted to go in terms of the Vision 2020. The first 6 months were really a recovery period. We were just coming out to the deep pit the genocide government had put our country into. Now by 2000 we were sort of on the ground, on the surface, so we had to build on that to go up. So the vision of what we wanted to achieve, and that is linked to building institutions that will help the country to achieve that. Again, during that period of recovery, these institutions were set up. For once, this government set up an Auditor General's office that was to ensure accountability of government finances, set up the tender board that was to ensure public tenders are done transparently and with ensuring value for money. We had the Revenue Authority being established to ensure maximizing government revenues in a professional way. We had the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament for accountability. So we had a lot of institutions being set up to drive this long-term vision of accountability and proper planning. And when you look at the budgeting process, we really prioritized development budget against the recurrent budget. So as we kept on increasing our resources, more were put into the development budget to create the infrastructure, the base on which this country can build on. And with this clear vision, with the seriousness to accountability, with the implementation, seriousness to implementation, donors were satisfied with what we were doing, and we had more money coming from our development partners. So that supported the financing of the economy. But also, there were a lot of efforts to ease doing business in Rwanda, to attract more private investment. So we saw the private sector playing a big role in the development of this country going forward. And from now speaking as a central banker, the central bank also played its role. One is opening up the market in terms of the foreign exchange, free exchange market, no exchange controls that were there in the past. So our exchange market being driven by market forces, and any investor coming in is assured of repatriating their profit or whatever. There's one thing that was asked during the press conference, government opening up to external people to work in our country. Because of our terrible history, we had lost capacity, we had no skills. And so we had to open our economy to skills from anywhere in this world. And for example, the financial sector, 10 years ago, almost more than 80% of our financial institutions were led by foreign people. But today, it's, I think, about 10% only. So we've at least built capacity of Rwandans to take over this. So, but all in all, so one, it's good governance, accountability that is linked to the good governance, private sector coming in, development partners coming in, the civil society, they all worked together to drive the growth of this economy, and the central bank playing its role in terms of ensuring a stable economy. At least when you look at our inflation, long term, it has been really very stable economy, averaging around 5%. The financial sector has been growing and it is stable, and that is also contributing to the growth of our economy. So briefly, that's what I can say. As you would understand, this is a big topic that would require hours to discuss, but let me just summarize it like that.
Thank you so much, Governor, for your time.
Now, to other matters, survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi who fled to Kabgayi in Muhanga district consider June 2nd as their day of resurrection. On this day, plans to kill all remaining Tutsi were established, and they were served by Inkotanyi soldiers. Take a look at the details. Historical accounts and testimonies reveal that after the Tutsi fled to Kabgayi, many were taken in small groups by the Interahamwe, loaded onto buses, and transported to Nyabarongo on the border of Muhanga and Ngororero districts, where they were killed. Those who survived until June 2nd believed it to be their last day, but they were ultimately served by Inkotanyi soldiers. They compared this day to a resurrection. We speak of resurrection because every day we thought it was our last day on earth. But on the 2nd of June, it was like the final. We were left all alone. We thought that they were going to eliminate us all completely. Since they have been trying for so long, that was the last day for us. 30 years after the genocide against the Tutsi was stopped, the survivors of Kabgayi commemorate June 2nd, not only to remember and pay tribute to the victims, but also to honor their covenant with the Inkotanyi soldiers who served them. We have also chosen to become Inkotanyi. We fight on a daily basis to find a good life. Now we are alive, we still have hands, and we use them to work, and we do not beg to anyone. During the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in Kabgayi, 33 bodies were buried at the Kabgayi Memorial. Minister of State in charge of Constitutional and Legal Affairs, Sorina Nyirahabimana, emphasizes the importance of people willingly providing information about the locations of victims' remains rather than bodies being discovered only during construction activities. Dear friends and neighbors, whoever may know where Tutsi were killed or where they were thrown during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, I'm pleading with you, please provide information, regardless of the way or mode you choose to give information. Just provide it so that we can be able to bury them in honor. At the Kabgayi Memorial, 33 bodies were buried, 9 of which were relocated from other sites. These are additional to more than 12,000 bodies of victims buried in this memorial, while another 25,000 bodies of victims still undiscovered. Still on commemoration activities, the Church Rwanda Victory Mission has held a commemoration event to mark the 30th anniversary of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi here in Rwanda, with the church leader heavily criticizing those who abandoned the Christian principle of love to engage in the atrocities that spurred on the fastest genocide in recorded human history for 100 days, claiming the lives of more than 1 million Tutsi.
In fact, today it's a day we are remembering the genocide that was done here in Rwanda. But again, we are saying that what happened shouldn't happen again. Those people who actually were the masterminders of the genocide were actually, we say, they were being fed with the evil spirit. They were doing satanic activities where you find someone is killing the other. A child is being killed by someone, a neighbor is killing another neighbor. But today we are saying this should never happen again. We are even teaching the youth to love each other. We are teaching the Word of God, the genuine Word of God that teaches love amongst people. So all we are teaching is the population to say no to genocide, never to happen again.
And on behalf of the Technical News Production team, we sincerely thank you for being part of our news today. Have a fruitful week ahead. Take care and goodbye.